I'm using a lettuce. We are using lettuce as well for our topping. Sour cream, cotija cheese. Hey my future saints, I'm Ellie and welcome back to One World Saints, where we learn about our faith while discovering new flavors. I'm so happy to be back again for another video. I'm trying to do these more often, bring you guys more information, more messages for you guys to learn and just make it fun as possible. Because I think in the prior videos I did mention how I wanted to try out new ideas. And because of that, I have another guest for you guys today. So with that being said, welcome Miss Liliana de la Torre.
Hello.
Alrighty, so Lily's here. Lily is what we usually
Everybody
go by,
calls me.
but her real name is Liliana. Same with, I guess, with me too, Ellie, but my real name's Elizabeth. It's okay, whatever's easier, guys, to remember. So we have Liliana here, and she'll speak to you guys a little bit about who she is in moments to come. But with that being said, Liliana, what are we making today?
We are making enchiladas.
Enchiladas. So specifically,
Yay.
I guess, enchiladas rojas because there's suizas and so many other ones. But we are making enchiladas rojas because you told me you like them. You really like them.
So enchiladas are my favorite food all the time. I grew up with them. They were like, should I try that again? Sorry.
Okay. So why did you choose enchiladas rojas?
Yes, so enchiladas are my favorite food of all time. So I grew up eating enchiladas. My mom used to make them all the time. They were like a staple in our house. Sorry, we'll see how it goes because, I mean, nothing's like homemade.
That's true, that's true.
But I love them anyway, so we'll have a great time making them and eating them mostly.
Yeah, that's
right?
true. So I mean, I agree with you as well because I mean, I make enchiladas, but my main type of enchilada I make is suizas is what I think the proper name is. I know them as enchiladas verdes, but that's the one I usually know how to make. So this one is actually new to me as well. So I'm really hoping this comes out really good as well. But let's have fun with it. So we're just gonna run through the ingredients right now. Alrighty, so here are the ingredients that we are gonna use for tonight. We are using obviously our corn tortillas. I actually have the little ones here, the ones that are like taco style. But I mean, you can use any type of tortilla that you wish or that you have at home. These are the ones I had at home. You got to be efficient and use what you have at home. I'm using a lettuce. We are using lettuce as well for our topping. Sour cream, cotija cheese. I heard that people like queso fresco. I don't like queso fresco. I prefer cotija, so we're gonna use cotija. I have some shredded chicken. I got a head start and used and prepared my shredded chicken before. This is chicken thighs, but you can use chicken breast. Any part of the chicken I think would be useful. If you have a piece of chicken at home, maybe you used it before and you have some leftover, you can use it for this. You're gonna need some oil to fry the enchiladas, and we have our chile, which is the main thing of this. I went ahead and got a head start on it as well. What I put in mine is chile ancho and chile guajillo. I added some garlic clove, salt, pepper, oregano, and some onion. So, I just put it in there, blend it. I put some water as well. And the consistency is how you may wish. You don't want it too chunky because then the tortilla won't be able to grasp some of the chile onto the tortilla. So if you want to add a little bit more water to make it more liquid form so that it can grasp into the tortilla. So these are the basic ingredients that you need to make it. There's a lot of variations, different type of chiles. This one is up to your own likeness of what you wish to have on it. Alrighty, so let's welcome back from the ingredients. So hopefully you guys were able to purchase them. If you have your store right next to you, I think there's a store that you can purchase these things like almost in every corner. But hopefully, or if you have them at home, that was great. We can make them. So let's cook together. But before we get into that, the actual cooking part, let's hear about our guest. she's our guest of honor for tonight. So Lily, I mean, I think you told us at the beginning why you chose enchiladas, but I don't know if you want to share a little more about yourself, you know, just any information. Oh, okay, never mind.
Just kidding.
No, we need information here, maybe social security, that would be great. Debit card number, you have a savings account, we need money here. I'm kidding. But if you want to share anything with us, please share something with us. That would be great. So, Lily?
Okay, well, like Ellie mentioned, my name is Lily. I am a mother, a wife, a daughter, but most importantly, a daughter of Christ, right?
Amen.
So I am part of Duc In Altum, right? My husband came last week, I think. So he did, when you guys did the morisqueta, which I tasted, was delicious. So good job with you guys. Go check out that video. No, but yeah, so he's the coordinator, so I am part of the leadership team, part of the court team, along with Ellie. You guys can go check out my videos, which I've been really bad about posting, but there's a few things here and there about things that you may or may not know, right? About the Catholic Church.
They're really, really interesting. At least I think though. So it makes you a little wonder like, oh wow, I didn't know. So it's really interesting. If you guys have the chance, shouldn't be, you know, probably go backspace or back one page and it should have them there. Click on Lily's page and, you know, see her very quick for sure. It will not take that much time from your day, and check out her videos. So it's pretty interesting. But, you know, just thank you for having you today with me on this one. So hopefully maybe she can invite me on hers. But yeah, continue, Lily. Anything else that you want to share with us, or is that or that's enough?
No, I mean, yeah. So basically, I help with, you know, the team with the teens. Not much I can say now. Throw it right back.
That's what she says, but I think she may think that she's not really doing much, but I think sometimes it's like we do many things, right? Youth, they're crazy. They go crazy. They want to do so much. We all want to do so much. So Lily is actually that person, which I think is just wonderful, that we are here like, okay, we want to do this and we want to go this place and go see that thing and, oh, we should do this. But Lily's like, hold up, let's look at things correctly. Do we have the permissions to do it? Do we have the money to do it? Do we need to ask for permission to go to this place? So I think that's really wonderful that Lily, you know, calms us down in one bit, but at the same time, it's like, okay, let's look at all the legal stuff. So that's good. That's good that we always need time. So she may think that, oh, she's just like helping as much as she can, but she's really that person that is like, but you didn't think of this. And I think that's really wonderful. So thank you, Lily, on that. Thank you for being here and, you know, letting us all get to know or get to taste why are enchiladas so important to you. Very, you know, bring a lot of memories back to home. So with that being said, we're gonna start chopping up a little bit of the lettuce. You may be seeing me maybe get out of the screen a bit. I'm gonna start maybe trying to cook these this enchiladas, get them started. And Lily maybe be the only person on screen. Don't worry, she's not camera shy. She's used to this. You see her getting red all over. Don't worry, there's no lights right now, so she's gonna be fine. So she's gonna be sharing a little bit more just about her faith in general. So Lily, I mean, whenever you want to start chopping, because I'm sorry, but before we get into it, your husband actually said that he knows how to cook. Do you say yes he does or that he doesn't?
I mean, he tries.
Okay.
He cooks because I don't have time sometimes. So I mean, we share that responsibility. So depending on who has more time that day, or sometimes he comes home from work and I'm still working. So right now with COVID, I'm working from home, right? So yeah, so sometimes I'm still working when he gets home, so he gets dinner ready, and then by the time I'm done, we eat. You know, so
that's good. That's good that you guys share that responsibility.
Yes.
And maybe later on we can have a video or a talk relating with like that that type of commitment that you have, or that those responsibilities that you may have when you are married and living in Christ, and sharing all these responsibilities. Because I mean, we live in a very in a Hispanic, well, many of us grew up in a Hispanic household where maybe rules were very strict. So maybe later on you can share a little bit about that thing. But regarding your husband did mention that he makes this one amazing maruchan or something like that. Have you ever tried it?
Yes, the one with like cilantro and like onion and hot sauce and
And do you think
avocado?
You like
I'm
it?
giving away his recipe.
Oh, yeah, I'm giving it a little away. He didn't share that much information.
Yeah, no, he throws a lot of things in there, makes it a little bit different than like the typical maruchan.
So just watered it. All right. Do you happen to have any?
I make it just water.
Too much.
I don't get creative with my maruchan.
That's good. It shows different characteristics of personalities in your food as well. That comes out, but that's good. So Lily, while you're chopping up, if you want to start, actually,
I can do this.
Actually, I have her doing this because I personally have no idea how to cut lechuga. My mom gets mad at me all the time. She says, "Está muy gruesa. It needs to be bien fina," and I have to work on that. But Lily, if you want to share with us, or if the chopping lets you talk, I don't know. It's hard for me at times to multitask. But you said that you have been in the faith for a long time, correct?
Oh, I didn't mention that. Yes. So I think that's enough.
That's enough. That's more than enough.
So, I've been in the faith since I'm a cradle Catholic, right? I grew up Catholic, did my sacraments, all of that. But I didn't become, I guess, very involved. It was like a quinceañera wedding baptism type Catholic. Right? If there was a special event, then I'm there. But we would go to mass as a family, but we didn't go to one parish. It was always like bounce around. I knew all the different mass times of all the parishes around, because depending on where we wanted to eat, sometimes okay, after mass we'll go here. So grew up kind of like that, but it wasn't, and if we missed a Sunday, it wasn't like a big deal. So I wasn't too in tune with, I knew God existed, and I knew, all these things. But when I was about 13 is when we started going to like grupo de oración.
Okay.
So then my mom is the one that kind of initiated for us to go. My sister then decided she wanted to join the choir, right? Like down the line, right? And so then when she started wanting to join the choir, they told her she needed to go live what were crecimientos. So if she didn't join that group, then she was going to be part of that choir, right? So that then made us go on Fridays and on Wednesdays. She didn't want to go alone, so she dragged me along. Right?
So how did you feel? How did you feel from like somewhat of a, maybe on Sundays mainly, bouncing around from different churches, and then to where like you're going more than once to church?
Yeah, it was weird in the beginning. I think we, in general, thirsted for more. Right, so when we finally got involved and started doing things, I don't know, I think we just kind of fell into it. And it was like, I don't know, it was very, very welcomed, because I started to receive maybe something that I wasn't getting in Mass. I always remember going to Mass and thinking it was boring. Right, because obviously at that age, you kind of don't really understand what you're living, why you're doing things. I think even at that age, I didn't even know all the responses, right? So you're just there and you're listening and and then, I speak English. Yes, I know my faith in Spanish, but listening to a homily in Spanish, I found kind of boring, or I couldn't understand all of it. So then it was just kind of like a mix. So when we started going, it was more of like a class, or having worship, like listening to music that wasn't, Mass music. It wasn't like I don't know, a hymn that you're listening while or, like during a procession, so it was listening to music that you can dance to. It's like, oh, it's okay if you dance because your body is also worshiping God, right? So learning these things or having that, like, hey, church can be fun, right? Especially as like a teenager, you're like, hey, I didn't know that this could be fun, right?
Yeah, of course.
I was forced to go to mass, right? So seeing that kind of allowed me to grow, and then getting all the, I guess, the classes and the fellowship and having that as a community, learning, maybe other people that you're not the only Catholic around. I remember growing up and being like in middle school and thinking like if somebody served in mass, like before me going to church, right? It's like seeing someone's like, oh, you serve in mass, like, well, that's so lame.
I agree. I think many of us actually feel that way.
Oh, now I'm like, oh man, I wish I would have. Like that sounds like so much fun. Right? But yeah, so I never did it. But I remember it was always kind of shameful if you were part of church or if you liked going to church. And I remember even the people that did serve in mass, I remember they would kind of justify it by saying like, oh, my parents are super Catholic, they make me, right? But nobody ever really embraced their faith and said, yes, I serve because I love God, right? So I don't know, I think, it's an adjustment, but I wish I knew then what I know now, right?
Yeah,
to be able to serve with like that love and that care. Right, because it's an honor to serve God.
Of course, I agree. And I think that's wonderful what you're sharing, and I hope that our viewers are able, and those youth that are out there are able to understand that. Don't be ashamed of your faith. It's okay. To be different. That's something that's different. Many times, other people we want to be unique. We should be unique because we are all different. But God loves us either way, each and every one of us. So I think that's wonderful what you said. We should not be ashamed of our faith. We should be proud, and we should let everyone know. And maybe that spark, and I'm sure that spark that you were receiving, not being so ashamed of your faith, I'm sure that helped those that were around you that maybe were feeling that certain way.
Yeah, and it took me a bit to not be, not being embarrassed to share that, yes, I go. And then it was funny because once I was in the community, I then, I guess, met people but that I already knew from school.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, you're here too, right? So you have something else to connect with.
Definitely.
It's like, okay, right? It takes a bit of adjustment, but I remember going and learning so much and being super excited and seeing like, I started as an adolescent, so I was with the adolescent group, and then I remember looking up to like the teenagers and then the young adults, right? So seeing how their faith was and how their lives were and what their goals were, and I remember they would do retreats and they would, go camping, and I remember, at that age, I was, just trying to get by. It was funny because seeing that, it was like, I had that motivation to say, okay, well, what do I need to do that? Because that looks like fun, right? That looks like something I want to do. So it wasn't even just fun and exciting what they did, like the retreats and camping and all that. But I remember their spirituality and how that was, like some of them would guide prayers and things like that. And like, wow, I wish I could do that, right? I wish I could guide a prayer like that and cause, that, I don't know how to explain it, like spark that emotion on, like having them, because God isn't an emotion, but having them connect in that way during their prayer, right? Because that takes,
that's lots of courage.
It was very awesome to see, young people doing that, and like, yes, that's possible, You know, so that encouraged me, and I kept going, and I kept living, and then one day I did. I mean, I met my husband and everything before he was my husband.
That's a plus.
Yeah,
that was a plus there.
Happened. But yeah, so I mean, once we met, then we kind of grew together, and we encouraged each other and pushed each other to keep going and kept each other on track. And from the beginning, when we started, I remember us saying, right, like, it's not just us two, let's make this a relationship of three. I mean, I think at that age we were like 16. So for 16-year-olds to say, hey, like, we want God in this relationship, otherwise I don't want it, right? Like, I mean, I think back, I was like, man, that was mature of us.
That's very mature. Because how many 16-year-olds or around that age, 15, 16-year-olds, that's not something that we see at the moment, that we're seeing. And for you guys to have to decide together, like, hey, this is the way we should do it, and if it's not gonna happen, then maybe this is not gonna work out, then I think that's just a great example that we should all live by as well. So I think that's great, and thank you very much for sharing that part of your growth in faith, in the faith. And many times I think many of our youth seem to say that they believe in God, correct? But what do you think? What would you say is actually, like, what does it mean to you to actually believe in God? You get me?
Yes.
If you wish to share with the audience.
Yes. I think to me, believing in God is, you know, having Him around you, believing that things are in His hands, putting yourself in His presence, and, you know, trusting in Him, trusting what He is saying, right? Trusting His promises, trusting in Him, right? And I think believing in God, I mean, it's different, because a lot of people say, okay, I believe in a greater being, right? And then that's kind of how they leave it. It's like, oh, I believe that there's someone out there. But I think it's more than just believing that there's, you know, this greater being. It's believing that He is your Father, believing that He's caring for you, and it's not, I don't know how to explain it, where it's not like He is controlling and dictating and doing everything and moving things around, right?
Which is something we often think.
It's not, yeah, some people think, oh, it's because God already has this laid out, it's destiny. And no, God gave us free will, right? So having that fear of God, not be afraid of Him, but fearing to disappoint Him, right? That, I think, is believing in God. Okay. Believing that He gives you that free will, and there are consequences for what you decide to do or not to do, right? And believing and fearing that, I don't want to disappoint Him. I want to do things the way He wants me to. Believing that He does have that greater plan for you. Yes, greater plan in general, right?
That's
He's
true.
not dictating it, where He allows you to either stick to His plan or stray from it. And then if you do stray from it, allowing you to come back.
Yes.
Right? He gives you that option and that free will to be able to do that. Right? That's believing in God.
Alrighty, so we are back towards the end of this closing video now. I did a lot of it off camera, I know, but what you're gonna basically do is you get your tortilla, you dip it in the chile, lo pones en el aceite para que se dore un poquito, lo sacas y le pones el pollo. I personally do it with potato, so the potato, I just put it in there, wrap it up. You can put other things inside. When I was younger, my mom used to put the cheese, everything inside so that ya estaba todo dentro y nomás se lo comías así. But now that I'm older, I put it all on top. So after you have your enchiladas, you want to dress them. So we're going to dress them with?
We're going to dress them with some lettuce, the cheese, and some sour cream.
Some sour cream, yes. Other people dress them up with something different. Sometimes you can accompany them. I think Lily was telling me earlier that she accompanies them sometimes with some Mexican rice, correct? The
Yes,
tomato
like on
type
the
of rice
side.
on the right, on the side.
Well, not Mexican rice, the white rice.
Oh, white rice. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
The Mexican white rice.
Mexican white rice. Alrighty.
Yes.
I know my mom personally likes it with some chiles, chiles
En vinagre.
en vinagres.
Yeah.
Aparte,
That's good
or sometimes I've seen people use what is it, cabbage instead of lettuce, or different types of cheese as well. Like I was telling you guys earlier, sometimes people like it with queso fresco. We're using cotija, but I think what type of cheese
growing
you?
up, it was usually queso fresco with onion and oregano fresco.
Oregano? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right, so yeah, different variations up to your own preference. So we're just gonna dress them up right now, but before that, Lily, if you have any closing remarks, any advice that you want to give to our youth or anyone who's really watching us tonight or whenever they decide to watch the video.
Some advice I would say, especially right now in these times, just remember that faith is kind of like a roller coaster. It has its ups and its downs. If you're in the downs right now, in the ruts, make sure you don't stay there. Do something, right? What I try to do in my personal life, because again, I mean, I've been doing this for quite a bit now, where I've had moments of, those lows and those doubts. What I do is I'll do like a self-check, right? Number one, it's usually go to confession, because without confession, then I can't take the Eucharist, right? And that's what gives us life. That's what gives us the strength to continue. So if you're in those downs, number one, go to confession. Number two, go to Mass, take the Eucharist. Number three, pray. Your spirituality is, in your hands. It's your own. Your relationship with God is that. It's a relationship. It takes two. If He keeps reaching out, but you're not there to listen, right? It's on us. It's on us individuals to have that connection with Him. So through prayer, through the Word, right? Sometimes the prayer and the Word together, right? He speaks through us through the Word.
I think, if you allow me to add one more to your list, I think if it's possible, if there's a youth group in your parish, a community, yes. I don't know if you mentioned that one.
No, my comment before, yes.
Okay.
Community is very important. Yeah. So if you, especially right now, find community somehow. Right now it's mainly online, right? But talk to someone. Be in a community. So like you mentioned, if you're young, a youth group, a young adult group, if you're older, there's like married groups. There's a group for everything. So find an online community right now to be able to connect, right? Someone who can push you, someone who can help you along, give you advice to help you kind of get out of that rut.
Yeah. So while Lily is gonna finish dressing it up, I just want to close up with, thank you very much for listening to us. Thank you, Lily, for joining us tonight and sharing what you grew up with enchiladas. So I hope that encourages you guys, to stay with your roots first of all, or reach out to a community. Don't forget to talk to someone, and I'm gonna give you guys as a challenge to maybe reach out to someone that you haven't reached out in a few maybe months, or if you have someone maybe in your class online and you're having trouble, reach out to them. Don't just stay by yourself. So I think that thank you very much for everything, and I think when we get a hold of God, we'll be able to accomplish so much more. So thank you, Lily, once again for joining us today. Anytime that you want to be back, you can be back. If you want to have me in your video, I would very much appreciate that. Go check out. Thank you. Go check out Lily's videos. Continue giving love and support to our youth group. Our videos, like, comment, subscribe. If you have any ideas, any questions, anything in general, let us know in the comments, or reach out to us in our pages, Instagram Facebook. I think that's all we have, right? Reach out to us. Don't stay. If you have any questions in general, let us know. And thank you very much. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.